What's up, YouTube? Welcome to More Trades. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and see where we're at and where we could be expecting to go. For starters, I would like to highlight something. We have the FOMC Fed Chair Powell speaking on Wednesday. So when he speaks, there'll be some volatility, maybe prior or after he speaks. He's going to be testifying in front of Congress on that day. He'll be answering questions, so he might be so hawkish and cause some volatility unless we price it in before he speaks, and then after he speaks, everyone is over and done with it, and we just have a rally. And if we look at the chart, as I mentioned so many times before, that I have the Fibonacci time, trend-based Fib time, and there is one incoming. It's on this chart. Let me see, where's the chart? This chart. On the daily time frame, you can see I mentioned before that we had the 10th of June, and on the 10th you can see what happened. We had a dump and it continued until yesterday. And then I also mentioned on the 15th we have another Fib time. On the 15th we had a nice dump then pump, so there were good trades over there. And on the next Fib time is we had it on the 19th. I mentioned that also in one of my videos, and we had a good pump. That was yesterday. And the 20th is incoming, 23rd, sorry, and that will coincide with Wednesday, I believe. Today is Monday the 20th. So Tuesday 21st, Wednesday 22nd. So 23rd will be right after that. Maybe the daily candle on the 23rd gives us a relief. Maybe the bottom will be in on the 23rd. Another thing I want to do is update my wave count. I think there is something that needs to be adjusted over here. We had a third wave, and I think this micro fourth wave of the third comes here, and I'm expecting a fifth down. It could take us to the 23rd. Then after we finish the fifth wave of this wave down, this is actually the fifth wave in white, as you can see, and it has 5 waves in it, and we have a fourth wave at the moment. We're bouncing for the fourth, and we might come down to the fifth. How low can we go? That's what we're going to be taking a look at. I have other charts that show us. On this chart, I have it on the Bitstamp chart because we have more data on the Bitstamp. Let me just get that. This is on the Bitstamp chart. On the Bitstamp chart, as you can see, we have more data over here. This is Coinbase. Oh, let me just look for Bitstamp. Yeah, that's a Bitstamp chart. I think I have target over there. On the Bitstamp chart, we had this target at 17,417. That was hit. Now, let's look at the QMA, and on the weekly time frame, we'll get a clearer picture. So on the weekly time frame, Bitcoin historically never closed below the 200 EMA. Well, we closed below it and we wicked to the 300, but we didn't touch it. So a possible target for this would be, initially would be the 300 EMA. If we make it there, that should give us a good bounce. As you see, 200, 300, we also got good bounces over there. So if we take it over here and look at where the 400 is, the 400 is around 17,442. And this target here is for the 500 EMA. At the moment, the 500 EMA is at, let's look at the 500 EMA. 500 at the moment is 13,512, so it's slightly moved higher. So that's our next targets to the downside, the biggest support. If we go to the 4-hourly chart and we switch off these indicators and we look at the volume profile for this range that we're in, let's take a look at that. If we go to that and we take the volume profile, fixed range volume profile, and for this move down, and see at the moment on the 4-hourly we're below the point of control. And let's pull some fibs and see. Let's pull this fib retracement. Our 0.618 is at 18,826. That's a possible target if we go to the downside. Our 0.5, which is also a good retracement level, is at 19,201. If we're pulling down, as I was saying, if we're pulling down, if we're bouncing up for the wave 4, how far can wave 4 go? If we go to the 1-hourly chart, you can see that this move up is clearly a correction. It doesn't look like a 5-wave move up, and you can't see 5 waves in it. It's clearly a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're continuing so on in a ascending channel. Now, if we take our count over here, we could say this move down was a 3rd wave, and it started somewhere here. Doesn't look very nice, but say we started the 3rd wave from the top here. I would prefer over here. It looks more like it. We take the trend-based fib. If you want to measure the 4th wave, the 4th wave would retrace. We need the fib retracement. The 4th wave retraces around 0.236 to 0.382 of the 3rd wave. So our 3rd wave of this big 3rd wave. So if we say we had a 1, 2, and then we had a 3 all the way here to the end of the wave 3 over here. Actually, our wave 3 didn't end over there. Our wave 3 ended over here. Possibly. So this green 3 needs to come all the way here. Our 4th wave can retrace to the 0.236 or the 0.382. At the moment, we hit it yesterday, the 0.236. If we come up to the 0.382, is at 22,662. If we just stop here, then our wave 4 is down, and we're done, and we're coming down for wave 5. Now, if we go to my fib channel that I had over here, you can see that we broke through it. We had 2 days that we went under it. Let's go to the 15-minute time frame. At the moment, we're trading at the bottom of the fib time. We're just at the bottom of the channel. We might, if we break it, it becomes resistance. Look at that. 1, 2, twice, and we broke through it. So let's see how that plays out. Over here is we have the 5 and the 50 EMA. The 5 is in blue, the 50 is in red, the dotted lines. And at the moment we're above the 5 and the 50, so momentum is to the upside. We're struggling at this location. There's some kind of resistance at the moment. You see we dump from here. We might come up, spike, get the liquidity, then continue down. There are some wicks over here, so let's look at the lower time frame. On the lower time frame, we're above the 5 and the 50. What's wrong with this indicator? Let me pull this up. Okay. So at the moment, now I change it to 5. We have the 8, 13, 21, and 55. This is better. We're above the 55 and everything is flaring to the upside. We had a bullish cross. yesterday through the sign, a buy signal. And we're continuing. If we're able to break this, then we would use it as support and carry on to the top of the channel, which the top of the channel is at around, if we go up in this candle, in this hour, it's around 21,106. We might find some rejection. But before we get to the top of the channel, we have this block over here. That is going to be a resistance. It's a previous wave 4. And we need to break above it, get support. For Bitcoin to go up, it needs to move in a 5-wave move. If this is a 5-wave move that I cannot see clearly, then Bitcoin needs to essentially do this. We need to go move up. Oh, that's a very thick line. Get support from this block and continue up. But for that to happen, we need to have, I prefer to see reversal divergence, which we don't have. What is reversal divergence? Is having, if we're in a downtrend, then we really want to see bullish divergence being formed on a higher time frame. Now let's look at this. I'll get rid of the MACD for this. At the moment, from yesterday, the pull up from here. If you look at here, at this location, we had a lower low on the price action, and we had a higher low on the RSI. That gave us a bullish divergence, and we had a pump up. Now, for Bitcoin to really move up, we need the price to come up. If the price exceeds this point, if we wick up and come back down below this, but we wick above it and come down below it, we'll just have bearish divergence between the RSI, which will be higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the RSI, and that will continue down. We'll just roll. But if we want Bitcoin to start pumping up, we need to come up and get down, and we need to go wick, at least wick, not even close a candle. If we can wick below this and close above it, then the RSI, I'll show you how it would look like. If Bitcoin goes up, it will go up in this fashion, and then it will roll over and come down below this low. It won't be in one candle, obviously, and wick and come back and close above it. But the RSI, on the other hand, because it doesn't follow the wicks, the RSI will form a higher low compared to this portion. So we'll have a lower low in price action, a higher low in RSI, and that would give us bullish divergence again, and that would be like triple bullish divergence, and that could help us pump further. We could still pump up without having that, but preferably that helps you. It gives you some kind of confluence. So 21.1 is the next target up. If we're able to go above it, I think 22.100 would be another level to be aware of. If we start going down, our next level to watch out for is 19.848. And then below it would be over here, 19.480. If we break 19.480, then this move up will be invalid and will start rolling down. So 19.480 for now. Bitcoin has to hold it so it doesn't roll down. That's as for Bitcoin. Ethereum, on the other hand, let's pull up Ethereum. Ethereum on the 15-minute, the MACD is same as Bitcoin. We're going up, and same TA as Bitcoin. We need to come down, wick below this low, and in the RSI we need to hold that low at the same position and then continue up, and that will give us bullish divergence. As you see, I have this target 705, 911. They were just measured moves, and if Bitcoin goes down, those are my targets to the downside. 911 first target. Actually, I have targets before that. We have the bottom of the channel very close by. We have January 2020 demand wick over here, 1044. You see we bounced right off it. We got it, we bounced off it and we went up, and we have January 2020 another demand wick, which is lower, and it's at, sorry, yeah, that's 911 is a demand wick, and 705 is another level. Is the bottom, I think, of the 2020 before the bull run. If you're trading on in a channel, ascending channel has high probability to break to the downside, and when you're at the bottom of the channel, you'd want to buy. When you're at the top of the channel, you prefer to sell. We have this. It was a previous daily support. Now it's a resistance. And we have January 2020 range POC, which is going to be a very strong resistance. I took that off the weekly. So at the bottom of the channel is a good buy, but at the moment we're very close. We've tested the bottom of the channel several times, and we may break it and confirm a break. You see over here on the 15-minute time frame, we have a triple bottom, or you could call it three valleys, but they're not rising, and we're breaking to the upside. And if we go on the hourly to see if we have any patterns, this is Ethereum USD, so we had a gap up. We looked like we had a head and shoulders, but not anymore. Let's go back to the 15-minute. Yeah, so if you want to measure the measured move, if we break here, what's our targets? Simply you take the width of the channel and you bring it down to the breakout. The breakout could happen here, but the initial breakout happened here, in my opinion, and we could be going down to 940. Very close to this target, and that's, I would consider that confluence. But if we break up, if we go up in this candle all the way up, we come to the 1374, 1374 target. Now, our demand wick is over here. What else? Let's take a volume profile of what's happening in this range on the 4 hourly, and let's see what's happening over here. Let's take it from here. So that's our volume profile for now. As you see, our value area low is over here. We're above it, so that's good. We're getting support over it. Our point of control is very close to our January 2020 level, 1231. And our value area high would be over here at 1253. Now let's go to Solana. Solana was a good trade. I took several trades of Solana shorts, and the trades have given me back 89%, 100%, or even more than 100%. I've taken shorts, several shorts in the past few days. I've taken 2 or 3 shorts, and now I'm looking for another short. It's a bear market, so I prefer to short rather than long. My target for Solana at the moment, the breakout of this channel, if it happens, would be around the $27 for this channel. We could have lower movements, we could have lower targets. Let's see, are we forming anything? We had some kind of head and shoulders forming here, but we pumped up, so it could fail. It could be a weird head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, and right shoulder, but it doesn't really look like it. So just be aware, FIB time is incoming on Wednesday or Thursday. On Thursday, and Jerome Powell is speaking in front of Congress on Wednesday. So that would mean if you're in a trade, you should be careful on those days. So if you're in a long, say you took a long from the bottom and you're going up, make sure you take profits and at least move your stops. Have trailing stops or move your stops into profit so you don't get liquidated from a sudden move or get stopped out at very high losses. So I recommend that you be careful on those dates. Yeah, I said it's the 23rd. It's the 22nd. Jerome Powell is speaking. On the 23rd is a FIB time. So every FIB time I've had so far gave us a good pivot. Let me show you again on the daily. If you like what you see, just follow and subscribe and like. I give TA almost daily, and I give good calls, not financial advice, but yeah. So I said on the 10th, before the 10th, I told everyone, whoever watched my videos, I told them that the 10th would be a pivot point. And you see this drop on the 10th. That was at least a 7% move. Wait, let's see. The 10th, Bitcoin opened at 30,000. Bitcoin's high 30,337 and lows 28,821. So if you measure that, 30,000, roughly 300, 28,8. That's a 5% move, sorry. Every FIB time is usually a pivot point. Sometimes they don't pivot, but if it's a pivot point, you'll have either up. It doesn't tell you the direction. It doesn't give you bias of direction. So the 10th gave us that. And then if you look at, I mentioned the 15th. The 15th opened, the high was 22,769. The low was 20,071. 22,769, 20,077. It was about 11%, 10 to 11%. So that's a decent amount. If you're using leverage, that's a decent amount. At the moment, we had another FIB time on the 19th that I called, and we had also, you see, a pump. It was a big one. Bitcoin is still holding its range. Ethereum, I think, is doing the same. Solana is trying to get up there, struggling at this block. If we break up, the breakout of this channel to the upside for Solana would put Solana at about 34. Actually, very high price, very bullish, 42K. I mean 42. But we need to remember we have some moving averages before we get there. So there might be a problem for Solana on the way up. Let's see. You see the target over there that I showed you? That's exactly the 200 EMA on the 4 hour. That's confluence. If we go to the hourly, we don't have any EMAs there, but on the 4 hourly, which is a high time frame, that's a 200 EMA over there. On the 4 hourly, our ATR on Bitcoin, let's take a look at the ATR on Bitcoin. ATR. The ATR on the 1 hour is still high. It needs time to cool down. And then we look at, let's take a look at the Ichi cloud. Ichimoku, tell us where's our resistance. on Solana, on the 4-hourly, we're in the resistance cloud. The cloud will be thinning towards the 23rd, 24th. That would be opportunity for Solana to pump up. If it can't, it might bump its head over here. Then over here it will be thinner. As for Bitcoin, if we take Ichimoku on the 4-hourly, on Bitcoin, still quite thick, but it looks like maybe on the 24th and further it will start thinning out. On Ethereum, let's get rid of this. Let's look at Ichimoku on Ethereum. On Ethereum, the Ichimoku cloud is quite thick, but it looks like it will thin out further ahead, 29th of June maybe. This is on the 4-hourly, of course. MACD on the 4-hourly is going up. To find MACD, you look at the lower time frames, because the move develops on the lower time frames. We're still having support, and we're going up. This is Ichimoku on the 15-minute. I don't look at it in lower time frames. And we're moving up. But it looks like we're forming a rounding top, and we're topping out over here. Look at that. This is a pattern that repeats a lot in crypto. If you look at Bitcoin on the 15-minute also, let's look. Is there a rounding top? No. Look at these rounding tops that form. They give you a good trade. Once you see it stalling and the EMA is crossed to the downside, or you're hitting your head on some resistance and you're stalling and you're rounding up, that's a high probability trade. Look at this. Where is Bitcoin struggling? It's above the point of control at the moment, but we have this over here, this region, this zone that is struggling with, because we traded for a while over here. This could be our wave 4 of another micro count. I believe this is a correction. How high will it go? If we want to see how high could it go, we could take trend-based FIB, and if we assume this is an ABC, so we had an A, a 3-wave move, 1, 2, 3, and say we had a B, which is a 1, 2. You can't see it, but it's really tiny. 1, 2, 3, and you pull it here. This is on the 15-minute time frame. And the 1-to-1 extension is 21.542. It's close to the target I told you, the top of the channel, 21.1. The 1.618, if it's an ABC, it can go up to the 1.618 at 23,033. Bitcoin could be reversing, the bottom could be in, but as you see the title I mentioned, bottom is in. We could be having a bottom on Wednesday or Thursday. FOMC chair Jerome Powell speaks to Congress the day before, and then we have a pivot, Fibonacci pivot incoming. So that could be a good time for Bitcoin to start rallying. Tomorrow is Monday. In the US, the markets will be closed, so Europe and London will have the leisure of doing what they want. They won't have the US trading. That's a bank holiday, I think. And then on Tuesday, that's when the volume will kick in. So Tuesday will be an interesting day, and Wednesday Jerome Powell speaks. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be amazing days in the crypto. We might see Bitcoin even go up back to 24K, 23K, or we could just go down to 17K and go to those lower targets that I had before, that I showed you with the moving averages, the higher time frame moving on the weekly. I moved them out of the chart, but we have the weekly 300 and the weekly, no, we closed, we're going towards the weekly 300. We might go to the 400. We've never closed below the weekly 200 on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has never closed below it. Let's take a look at it again, and I'll show you. We'll go back in time and I'll show you. Let's look at that. Let's go to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, at the moment, as you see, Bitcoin, if you go back in time, let's take away the rest, it's just distortion. So we don't need the 200 because we're already below it. On the weekly time frame, this is the 300, this is the 400. See, the 400 started on April 2019. The 300 started on May 2017. The 300 is basically it needed 300 weeks, because this is on the weekly, to start trading, and the 400 needed 400 weeks. So since Bitcoin's creation, we needed that amount to start having these EMAs, as you see over here and over here. In this region, Bitcoin bottomed at the 300. Then the next one, we wicked the 300 at the weekly, but if you go on the hourly, you'll see candles below it, but it's on the weekly. So this whole candle is 1 week. We wicked 2 weeks below it, and we went up and we never touched it again. And now we didn't just wick, we closed. So is it bearish or is it bullish? See, the market always tries to fool the retail trader. At the moment, everyone's looking at this and thinking this is the end for Bitcoin. Bitcoin has never done this, so that means we're going down to hell. But the market can surprise you. Don't be complacent. The market can go back up at any time and recover these candles all the way up. All the people who went short might get destroyed. People who went short at 48k and didn't take profits and keep adding margin as it moves up, and maybe past their 48k entry, they keep adding margin and they get wiped out. At the moment, we're somewhere around capitulation. People are getting tired. Some people are closing positions. Some people are getting liquidated. Some people are selling off their bags because they feel like there's no hope for Bitcoin to reverse. Bitcoin could surprise us and reverse. But in my honest opinion, we will come down and at least touch this 300. We're not finished yet. We have this wick. We might come down and recover it. That's my Bitcoin, TA, Solana, and Ethereum. Today, we have the traditional markets trading. So if we go on the smaller time frame, let's look at, because Bitcoin follows the Dow Jones, Nasdaq, SPX, and the US 30, the Dow Jones is down, is up 0.14%. The US 100 is up 0.5%. But nevertheless, this move up, this ascending channel looks corrective to me. That means we have further to go down. If Bitcoin can take 11,500 and get support on it, then we may move up. If Dow Jones can get above 30,000, 600, 31,000, then we'll be moving up. It might have a chance to move up. We have resistance at 30,711. That's that zone. SPX and SPY is still not trading. It will open with the futures. All right, please like the videos, subscribe, and if you don't like the videos, also dislike the videos. Give a thumbs down or a thumbs up. Comment. Anything you do helps the channel.